Hi everyone, it is Bridget here from Bridget's Kitchen, hoping you are having a wonderful and a safe day today. Thank you for joining me. Yes, in my kitchen. It is an exciting cooking class that we're doing today, and I know I put out the little teaser there, vegetarian KFC. What could that possibly mean? Because you're thinking, is she maybe doing one of those recipes where she's like taking faux meat and making it to look like chicken and then deep frying it? Because that's what you kind of would imagine when we talk about vegetarian KFC. I can assure you it is none of those things. In fact, my KFC, and it comes directly from the Green Book, my KFC is my Korean fried cauliflower, and it is literally one of the best things that I have eaten in many years. And hello to Sandy, thank you for joining us. So it's in the book, it's on page 27 actually, and one of the reasons that I really like this recipe is not only is it vegetarian, but it's actually vegan as well. So we are doing a completely plant-based recipe today, and yes, it does have a vegan option to it, which is pretty exciting because I know that the buzzword right now for a lot of people when it comes to our diets is very much plant-based eating or vegetarianism or even veganism. And what's really also exciting is I have a lot of those recipes already in the Green Book. So the front section of the Green Book, you can see all those green little knobs at the front there. That lets you know that it's a plant-based recipe or a vegetarian recipe or a vegan recipe, and there is a good amount already in this book. Also, there is the ability for you to transfer, you know, if there's a protein that you don't want to eat, and you can transfer it out for something as well. But my KFC, so my Korean fried cauliflower, is, it's one of those dishes that at first you go, that doesn't sound that good. What could that possibly be like? Trust me, try it. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing, and I want to teach you guys the very simple principles on how you can make this. It's really easy to do, but the results, we had a dinner party in here going back a few months now. Actually, it was just before the book was released to the public, and I had 5 of the most wonderful ladies join me for the evening, and I fed them recipes from the soon to be released more from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, and I fed them recipes from the book, and we all sat down on this wonderful long table of food. And after dinner I said, you know, I was like, so what did you guys, you know, what was your favorite dish? And every single one of them said the KFC, the Korean fried chicken. They just thought it was genius, and I have to say it is pretty genius. The reason why I reckon it's pretty genius is because when I dine out now, you know, around, not just in here in Australia, but in New Zealand and also around the world, I see a lot of fried cauliflower making appearances on menus, and I always have to try it because I always want to see what other people's fried cauliflower is like, because it's kind of a cool and delicious thing. And I have to say that the version in this book on page 27, that one there, is better than anything I've tried outside of my home, which is good because, you know, these are all chef quality recipes in here, made by a chef who's been cooking for 30 years. I know how to cook. I know a few things about a few things, so you're guaranteed that all the recipes in here are going to be chef quality. In fact, some of the recipes in here you might even think I do it, you know, because it's going to be you who does the cooking. You're going to be like, you know what, I make a better version than that restaurant down the road, which is a bit kind of cool because it's all healthy food, of course. So we are doing the KFC today, and it's also to celebrate the fact that in the next couple of days, hopefully today, can't make any promises, maybe tomorrow, we're going to be releasing my plant-based vegan vegetarian ebook. It has 50 recipes in that ebook, so we can't give you a link to that yet because we still are waiting for the final design pieces to come together from our designer, and then we can release the ebook to you guys. And the ebook's got 50 recipes in it, and it's got recipes that are just so delicious. Like I do a Penang style red curry. People have been asking me for a red curry for such a long time. It is in the book. It is in the book, which is exciting. I also do a cauliflower mac and cheese. If you have a hankering for real comforting sort of mac and cheese style sauce, and then you mix it with cauliflower, I have got you covered in that book. Mahei said it was the best thing that he had eaten in a long time when he had my mac and cheese, my cauliflower mac and cheese. There is also my version of a satay sauce. I had someone request a couple of days ago on our private page actually, and I'd already been working on it, for an alternative to peanut satay sauce, because you guys know that peanuts are not that great for us, right? So I have created an almond nut sauce, which you can use on your wonderful healthy chicken skewers. So that is there in there. I have sweet corn fritters. Sweet corn fritters have made an appearance. I have hemp milk. I have all different types of soups. There is the most tastiest falafel you could possibly have. There is my nanny's pickled vegetables is in there too. If you've seen me with my gut healing bowls, I always have that big lovely jar of pickled vegetables. That recipe is in there. There is eggplant parmigiana in there. There is broccoli sushi. There is a banana and chickpea curry as well. So got you guys covered, but you can also do coconut yogurt. My vegan chocolate, which is gluten-free and sugar-free, is in there. Like, I could just keep on going, right? And also, because it's, you know, it's summer down under, where we are in the world right now, I also have a dairy-free, sugar-free, gluten-free ice cream recipe in there for you guys too. So it is a really good ebook, and I cannot wait to release that ebook to you guys. In the meantime, let's celebrate plant-based eating. Remember, this is a vegetarian recipe, but it's also has a vegan option as well, just for people who want to completely take the animal. Ooh, something's beeping, something's exciting in there. If you really want to take the animal, the animal products out of your diet, this is also there is a vegan option in this recipe too, but it's definitely vegetarian. It is plant-based eating. Let's get into it. Come on down to my bench so we can see what's going on today. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to think about the sauce that's going to go over top of it, because if you look at the picture, let's have one more little look at the picture. If you've got the book, please feel free to play along at home. So if you look at the picture, it's quite saucy, right? And that is definitely one of the keys to this recipe, is you want it to be really saucy, and that sauce needs to be really flavoursome, and it needs to kind of cling to the cauliflower once it's cooked. And the sauce that I'm making today, going to show you guys how to make today, is my Korean style sticky sauce. You guys know my sticky sauce. This is a Korean style chili sticky sauce. It is all those things and more. Yes, it is sticky, which is great because that's what we want. It has to be sticky, right? So I'm going to put my scales on my chopping board, and I'm going to measure everything straight into my pot, just to save on the cleaning and save on the hassles. I like to, just one of those little tricks that we use is we measure everything straight into the pot. So I'm going to start off with fiber syrup. Now, fiber syrup is a oligosaccharide, so it is an alternative to honey. It is an alternative, and I'm doubling the recipe, by the way, because I want to make sure I've got heaps of this in my fridge moving forward, so I am doubling the recipe. It is an oligosaccharide, so I've just put 70 mils, which is in the recipe, which is about 2.25 fluid ounces, but I'm doubling it, so I put the fiber syrup in there. I'll just go by the recipe, even though I'm doubling it. It's 70 mils, okay? Just to make things really easy, it's 70 mils of fiber syrup. So remember, fiber syrup is an oligosaccharide. It is not a sweetener, so it is very similar to our inulin powder, and that will increase the dietary fiber content of your food. But it also has a sweetness to it, so it's a really nice alternative to honey, maple, rice malt syrup, agave. All those things will spike your insulin response. This does not do it. So it is really, really good for diabetics or anyone on a sugar-free diet. It is wonderful. If you want to know where you can get fiber syrup from, all you need to do is to Google fiber syrup online. I've not seen it in any stores. You need to buy it online. So fiber syrup is in there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some tamari. I have in my recipe low sodium tamari. If you can't find low sodium tamari, that's okay. You can use normal tamari. Remember, the reason why I use low sodium tamari in my recipes is because sodium, which is salt, as you know, sodium can, for a lot of people, make you hold on to water. So it will actually hold onto water, and if you are doing a program where you're wanting to lose weight and also lose water retention, you want to go for a low sodium tamari, most definitely, if you can find it. If you can't, make sure you go for the tamari, because remember, that's gluten free. So I put 40 mils of tamari into there. I'm also going to add in my apple cider vinegar, and we just want a tablespoon. Remember, I'm doubling it, that's why it looks like a lot. But in the recipe, it's a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. The next thing we're going to do, and I'm actually going to show you just a new way, not a new way, but just with the garlic, because normally, I always have my containers of garlic ready to go, but I need to go shopping and buy some more garlic. That's all I got, which is all I need. And what I'm actually after here, where's my little knife? What I'm after here, I'm only after you know, sort of a tablespoon or half a tablespoon of chopped garlic. So you can, of course, chop it to order. But hopefully I'm going to be able to find my, I just realized I don't have it in front of me, my little tool that I use. I just need a little bit of garlic, and I don't have my container already pre-chopped. I'm off to the shops next, so I'm going to go get my go and get lots of garlic and pre-chop it. But if you just don't have it, have your garlic pre-chopped. Let me find my little. Oh, it's not here. Oh no. No, it's not here. I don't know where it is. Never mind. I was going to show I've got this really cool little grater, but I think I actually may have packed it away already. So we're going to just finally chop our garlic. So using the flat of your hand there, the knife is on the garlic clove. So I've got the flat part down there, and using that part of my palm, I'm just going to whack it down. And that's just going to help to bring out the minced bit. And then it's just a really quick little chop through the garlic. I would definitely suggest, if you are chopping your garlic by hand and not pre-chopping it like I normally do, I would definitely suggest that when it comes to your chopping board, that you secure it to the bench. And the way that you do that is just with a wet paper towel. My one's quite big, so it doesn't move anywhere. If you've got a really thin chopping board and you don't want it to go swimming all over the board, all over the bench when you're doing this or doing any type of chopping, just a damp paper towel or a damp tea towel underneath your chopping board will stop it from going for a bit of a swim, because you definitely don't want that. That is not ideal at all. So now that I've got it to that stage with the garlic, just want to prove to you guys that I can chop garlic. I don't always rely on my little food processor. I don't always do that. And then I'm just using the flat of my knife again. I'm actually just going to mash it. You see how it's come into this? Look at that. Can you guys see that? Just with that little bit. So it started off looking really thick. And then just with me using the flat of my knife again and kind of squishing it to the chopping board. That's why you definitely need to secure your chopping board to the bench when you're doing this. You get that really, really fine garlic, which is a nice little trick. You do need to have a decent sized blade knife to do this. Most definitely. It helps. But even if you've just got, you know, this is not a huge knife, but it still does the trick really, really well. So that is our garlic looking lovely and minced. That is going to go into there as well. I'm also going to add in, because you know I am, ginger. And yes, this is the last of my minced ginger as well. So I'm putting in half a tablespoon of very finely chopped or grated ginger is going in there. The next thing I'm going to add is what's going to give it that real authenticity when it comes to being those Korean flavors. So I have in here a little Korean paste, and I bought this from my Asian grocery store. I shop at one in Sydney called Tongli, Tongli. There are Tonglis, I think there's quite a few of them around the city. So Tongli, they do a Korean chili red pepper paste or chili paste, and it definitely has a distinct flavor to it and the distinct aroma. Now make sure when you are buying this that you are looking for a sugar-free version and no gluten as well, which this one is. I haven't given you guys a brand because all brands, because we are from all over the world coming in to watch these videos, and so giving someone a brand, they might struggle to find it thinking they have to get that one. So what I want you to do when you do go looking for your chili or red pepper paste, your Korean one, is read the label. Make sure there's no sugar, no gluten in there. If it does, then what you need to do is just find a pure chili paste that is made without any gluten, any sugar, or lots of nasties. So this is now going to go into our sauce, and it's up to you how much you add. And the recipe that I think I call for like half a tablespoon, and that is completely dependent on your ability or inability to, have chili in your diet. Also to remember as well is that if you are really cleaning out your guts, if you're on a gut reset plan or program, then you might also want to avoid the chili just for a little bit, because chili can also inflame the guts as well. So go carefully is the best way to talk about chili. Just go carefully, play around with it. You can always add more heat if you want to. If you sort of taste it and you go, oh, you know what, I think I need a bit more. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. So start off with a small amount. You can always add more as the sauce is cooking. But once again, just be mindful that chili can inflame the gut. So just be really, really careful with how much you put in there and how often you eat chili as well. So we've got all those ingredients in there. That's kind of all there is to the sauce. It looks like that. we are going to bring it to a bit of a simmer. I'm turning on my little machine and bring it to a little bit of a simmer. It can just do its thing over there. I'll just give it a quick little stir. Just like that. And now we're going to get on to the next thing, which is the cauliflower. So that sauce, by the way, if you make that sauce, that'll keep in your fridge for weeks. Like literally 2, 3, 4 weeks, because there's nothing in there that's going to cause it to go off. So it pays to double up on things like that, on the sauces, because they always keep for a really long time. So the other ingredient obviously that we need to talk about is our cauliflower today. Looks like a brain, doesn't it? It does look like a brain. I always think of the brain when I'm looking at cauliflower. For me, this is like brain food. This is such good quality nutrition, and it also helps to keep us full as well. So the cauliflower that I'm using, I'm going to be cutting into florets. So you want the key here when you're preparing your cauliflower is just to make sure that the cauliflower florets are as evenly sized as possible. Because we want them all to cook at the same time. So, you know, if I had one really big piece like that and one really small piece like that, after the allotted time's up, I think it's 25 minutes of cooking time, that'll be probably mush, and that one will still be raw. So you want to cut them in the same sizes. You don't have to be like, you know, completely OCD about it, but at the same time you want them to be around about the same size. So for instance, you might cut some of them in half, you might keep some of them whole, completely up to you. Oh, it's already starting to bubble over here. Exciting. Smelling good. I wish you guys were in my kitchen. It smells amazing. So yeah, prepare your cauliflower florets. That's the first thing that we need to do. I'm just going to throw them into here. It's probably the longest part of the job, is cutting the cauliflower. It's like I said, this is not hard. This is a really easy recipe to do. And remember, if you've got any questions as we're going throughout this cooking class, please feel free to ask. Mahei, the beautiful, handsome Mahei, is sitting behind his laptop waiting to fire questions at me just in case you have any. But you know, oh, he's got one already. Look at that.
Michelle, this is still as tasty without the chili paste.
Is it still, Michelle asked, is it still as tasty without the chili paste? It is a different type of tasty. So I would kind of compare it to sweet soy. That's what it kind of tastes like when you take out the chili. So yes, you can 100% do it, Michelle, if you don't want to do the chili. And what you will get is kind of like a sweet soy, which is kind of cool, right? Sweet soy is delicious. So yes, absolutely, that can work for you as well. So I've got my cauliflower florets. I think in the recipe, what are we calling for? 500 grams, and that's for 3 to 4 as a side dish. Can you eat this, you know, as a meal? Probably. You probably could, and I've heard of people telling me that with this recipe, they've eaten a whole head of cauliflower on their own. I mean, that's how delicious it is. So, yes, you can do all those things as well. Funny, eh? Funny, funny, funny. All right, we're starting to bubble over here. Look at this. Bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. Woo! That's what we want. Because I want it to just reduce. I want that sauce to kind of boil for about 2 minutes, and that's it. So, I've got that boil happening, which is good. In about a minute, I'll take it off. In the meantime, let's think about our cauliflower and what needs to happen now. So, we've got our florets cut. Perfect. Put my chopping board over there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 plates. 2 plates. And into those 2 plates, I'm going to be putting the crumbing mixture. Even though it's not crumbs that we're using on our KFC, it's definitely not crumbs. We're using as our flour component, we're using tapioca starch or tapioca flour. The same thing, right? What you're looking for is a tapioca that's very fine. It's almost like corn flour or like arrowroot. It's got that kind of texture. That goes into 1 bowl. So that goes in there. And it's really good idea with this. I reckon that's a minute. I'm going to turn that off. He can say that. It's a really good idea with when you are crumbing anything, whether you're making, you know, my chicken parmigiana, whatever it is, that you actually set yourself up in a little bit of a production line. It just makes things so much easier. So for me, the production line starts here. I start with the cauliflower. I then need to make a bit of a liquid. And the liquid that we're making today is I'm using an egg. If you are wanting the vegan option, just leave out the egg. And what you're going to do for the liquid is you're just going to add literally either kombu water, which is really nice. You could use kombu water in here, or you could also just use water, plain water with a little bit of salt through it, just to give it a little bit of flavor. I'm using an egg, I'm going to add some water just to thin it down. Just like that. And then we're going to take up a little bit of a fork and just give it a bit of a whip through. The egg is kind of there to give it just a slight amount of flavour, but it's also there to give it colour. But it's not necessary, hence why I said you can use kombu water, or you can use plain water with just a pinch of salt in it. I am going to add just a pinch of Himalayan into that as well, just to give it, you know, a little bit of seasoning, not too much. You could also do the same in here and just give it a little bit of seasoning with a little bit of Himalayan salt for your flour. So now our production line is set up. Perfect. Production line is set up. We just need the end bowl. So you'll have 4 bowls. 1, 2, 3, 4. The end bowl is what's going to catch. This is the bowler, and that's the catcher. So we start down there, and we start by putting it through our liquid mixture, and then we go on to the crumbing mixture. And this is where I do actually get a little bit OCD when it comes to this setup. Having, you know, been working in commercial kitchens all my life, you know, we won't be just doing that amount, we'll be doing like 100 times that amount. So you need to have a bit of a production going. So once it's like that, do you see? Lightly dusted, it just goes into our catcher's mitt, and we keep going. And when it comes to crumbing anything, this is the setup you use every single time. You could literally work in a commercial kitchen after you have this setup done. You know, you start with the liquid. For us, we're using the tapioca flour or the tapioca starch, which gives a lovely light coating. And then we can just even go, you know, that was 1 at a time. Let's throw caution to the wind. Let's do three at a time. Give it a bit of a drain. Other thing you've noticed is I'm only using one hand. I always keep one hand clean, just in case, you know, something needs me. Something needs my attention, I have to stir something and I don't want to get tapioca stuck. So I always use one hand as well, which is another really important trick to get into. When I was in chef school, the chef mentioned the reason we use one hand to crumb anything is in case the phone rings, we got to go over to the wall and pick up the phone. Yes, I learned to be a chef that long ago when phones still hung on the wall. So that was what I always remember, is chefs saying, you know, the executive chef might be calling you from his office and you've got to run to the wall and, you know, run to the wall and pick up the phone. I'm like, don't happen like that now. I mean, it was a few years ago that I trained to be a chef, just a few. But hey, it's taught me all these wonderful processes that I can now pass on to you guys. And so it was absolutely all worthwhile. Right, I'm throwing caution to the wind again. I'm going nearly all in. You don't have to do them individually. Like once you get the hang of it, like once you get I suppose you work out how the process works, there is nothing stopping you from doing like a handful at a time, because it doesn't need to take long at all. Doesn't need to take long. Glass goes in now. The main thing when you're doing this is just make sure you kind of drain it a little bit before it goes into the flour. Otherwise your flour just becomes large clumps and you get more flour potentials, or the potential to dust things in flour a lot more when your flour is dry. So that's probably the main thing to remember. Right. Can you double dip? Yes, you can. You can also do that if you want a really crusty and you've got the time as well. There is nothing stopping you from putting it back into the liquid, and then another light dusting of the flour. So yes, you can double dip, and what that means is you are going to get a really crisp exterior. Really crisp. So that's all our cauliflower done. Didn't take that long, and it's really easy as well. And I've still got one clean hand, or half clean, here we go, and one really dirty hand. So give me a second while I clean my hands. It's easy to clean too. I have to say this. It is really easy to clean your hands when you're working with tapioca starch or tapioca flour. It just comes off so easy. You know, if you're working with normal flour, it really clogs onto you because of the gluten, but because we've got no gluten in this dish, it literally just washes straight off. It's really cool. So we are looking pretty good. We are looking pretty fabulous. What we need to do now is to think about how we're going to cook this. And how we're going to cook it is probably the main reason why my KFC or my fried cauliflower tastes so much better than the ones I've seen. I'll come up to your face and it's weird. Tastes so much better than the ones that I've experienced in different restaurants and cafes around the country and also in a couple around the world as well. Is that what I find when it comes time to eat, and I'm really excited, the menu sounds really delicious, but the cauliflower that I get is really oil logged. I think they're deep frying it and it just doesn't work, I'm afraid. Deep fried cauliflower does not work, because what the cauliflower does is it sucks up all the oil and you just get this like really nasty oil slick in your mouth. It's not pleasant. So that's one of the reasons why I think mine's better. That's one of the reasons, is because we don't add any oil to it. There's no added oil. We've got enough goodness going on here that we don't have to deep fry it. And yes, I know that deep frying, and I still like, you know, to have every now and then, I'll have some chips out of the deep fryer, chops, as we say in New Zealand, chops. But that's a treat food. It's not something I do every day, and you know, it's not going to ruin my diet forever because, oh my God, she had some chips. But if you're eating it every day, it's 100% going to ruin your diet. But for me, you know, totally happy to have it. But cauliflower deep fried, nah, doesn't work. So we're actually going to be using the air fryer to cook our cauliflower. Now, can you make this dish if you don't have an air fryer? Yes, you can. And I think I've got the recipe in the book on how you can do it. No, I don't actually. How naughty is that? I just have the air fryer version in the book. I'll give you guys the oven baked version if you want to. So set your oven on 230 degrees, which is really, really hot. Take your cauliflower at this point, lay it out onto a tray, baking paper tray, lined tray, and bake it in the oven. So it does definitely work. Will it get as crispy as mine in the air fryer? No, it won't, unfortunately, because an air fryer is set up to create that environment as if it's been deep fried, and deep fried gets really, really hot. That's how we get that lovely crispiness from it. So I've got a question. Yes, Mahi?
A question from Kerry Casmira. She asked,
yeah,
have you ever added some curry to the tapioca?
Have I ever added some curry to the tapioca? No, but I don't see why not. The only thing is that would dramatically change the dish. You won't be doing Korean anymore, would you? So I don't see why not. You can use any spices to the tapioca that you want to add to it. I think it'll definitely enhance it. But this has got so much flavor already, it's not really necessary, but it could change the flavor profile of the whole dish if you're wanting to do that 100%. So when it comes to the air fryer, we're going to set our air fryer or our oven, remember, oven set at 230, roasting tray, baking paper line roasting tray, lay them out so they're flat, and they will cook in the oven. They'll cook in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, but keep an eye on it depending on how hot your oven is. Now with the air fryer, we set it at 220 degrees, which is 430 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really hot for the air fryer. I know some people's air fryers don't get up to 220 or 430 Fahrenheit, so you want to set it as high as you can. If yours only goes up to 200, you're probably going to leave it in a little bit longer than what I'm going to leave it in. So the main thing about air fryer cooking, as you know, is you need to preheat it for at least 2 minutes. Preheat your air fryer just like we preheat our oven. It's the same. We don't want to put the food into a cold environment. We want it to get in there and we're going to shock it straight away, and it's going to start to crisp up for us straight away as well. So we're going to preheat this for 2 minutes. You want to set it at 220, remember degrees Celsius, or 430 Fahrenheit. And then just like I was talking about the oven, how you lay the cauliflower out in a single layer, do that as well. Lay it out in a single layer in your air fryer. Don't double up, because you want the air to circulate to get everything lovely and crispy. Now if you don't, if you have a small air fryer, you're probably going to have to do this in batches. But that's okay, because it's going to be worth it. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. All right, I just need a little bowl. I recognize oh, there we go. I used up my last bowl. Okay. I need another glass bowl so you guys can see what's going on in there. So, cauliflower now goes in, and it's going to sit in there for 25 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how hot you can get your air fryer. And what you want to achieve when this is all said and done, and of course here's some I prepared earlier, is wonderful, crispy cauliflower. So that is it after 25 minutes in there. And what I now have, come on back back down here so you can see. What I now have is wonderful crispy cauliflower. It's crunchy. You can hear it actually crunching as it goes into my bowl, which is perfect. It's exactly what I want it to do. I want it to crunch because then I know that we have created that wonderful shell. And when you bite into it, you're going to get the crunch of the exterior with the softness of the cooked cauliflower. So you get that wonderful dueling textures in there as well. So it's nice and crunchy. I've got a little bit of colour. Remember, that colour has mainly come from the egg because we haven't got any oil on this, but it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. You guys know what I'm having for lunch, right? You know what I'm having for lunch. So that is ready. All we need to do now is finish it off with our sauce, which is here. I'm going to go back to my chopping board so we can add a few bits and pieces on top. But the main thing is that you put your cauliflower into a bowl and then you take some of that wonderful sauce that you've just created and dribble it on. Dribble on that sauce. Make sure it's lovely and coated. Give it a bit of a stir. Oh, the smell! Seriously guys, the smell is amazing. Bit more of a dribble. Bit more of a dribble. Oh, like this, seriously guys, the smell. Oh, wonderful. I love that Korean chili. It is definitely, you know, it's just such a distinct aroma and flavor. It just feels so comforting to me. So we've got this wonderful sticky mess going on, which is great. Let's decide, I've decided on this bowl to use to plate up today. So I'm gonna take tongs for this. I'm gonna get real sticky fingers. So taking up our crispy and wonderfully sticky and flavoursome cauliflower. I just think, like seriously, as it's hitting the plate, I'm getting excited because it means that it's super crunchy, which is what I want. And you know, before air fryers come onto the market, the only way we could get super crunchy like this, is putting things in the deep fryer. And in fact, you know, I'm really surprised the amount of restaurants that still use deep fries, unless of course that's what they do, is their deep fried food. But you know, for other restaurants it's just so not necessary. There are other things that we can use out there on the market now that means we're not deep frying our food and filling it full of really unhealthy additions of oil where it just doesn't need it. So I mean, some foods do, don't get me wrong, like, you know, chips are still good, but you can see that right now. I just want to dive into that, right? This is so good. All we're going to do now is we're not going to stop there. We're going to add a few more flavors because yum, you know, we're going to do that. And the few more flavors that we're going to add are really exciting to this dish as well. So in here, I just have some raw almonds. Almonds are really good for us. They're good, healthy fat. So we're adding a good, healthy fat, and you just want to just roughly chop through. And the other thing you're doing with these beautiful raw almonds is we're also adding a little bit more texture as well, because they're a good little crunch. And our palate, our mouth, our bellies like to have competing textures. So we're adding flavor, we're adding healthy fats, but we're also adding texture as well, just with that little bit of almonds chopped on top, and then we just sprinkle them over. Wonderful. I'm so excited. Sorry guys, I should stop saying how excited I am, but I'm so excited. All right, and my little tea towel, proudly sponsored by Jan from Tari, who every time she comes to a cooking class, she's come to 2 now, one in Tari and one in Newcastle last weekend. She always brings me this big bunch of herbs. So these are the last of Jan's wonderful herbs that she's plucked me straight from her garden. So sponsored by Jan. Look at her rosemary. Isn't she just an absolute genius? I have some sage here, which is quite a robust herb, as you know. This coriander, actually, this I got myself. Jan said the only herb she struggles with growing is coriander, so that was the one I had to go out and buy, but that's okay because Jan also gave me her amazing thyme, and her thyme lasts forever. Last time it lasted me almost a month wrapped in my damp tea towel. And then we've just got some parsley too. So the herbs that I'm going to be using today, I am going to be using a little bit of spring onion because that's going to be really nice on top there. I'm also going to use, would you believe, a little bit of Jan's thyme because it's just so fresh and so amazing. And I'm just plucking the leaves straight off the stalks and then spreading. Oh god, the smell. Oh, the smells amazing. So those are going on there. But the other one that I'm going to use, because it's your light and bright herb, as we know, it's the one that kind of, you know, tickles you in a good way or tickles you in a bad way if you don't like coriander. And I'm going to go for the stalks as per usual, just for the stalks. I've given this a bit of a clean. A lot of dirt can live in those stalks, so just be really mindful when you're cutting stalks. Yes, we've got a question.
Question from Frank Swimming. Can you put it into the chicken tumbler in the air fryer? Mine is the same as yours.
That was a question from Fran, was it? Yep. Yeah, I suppose you could, Fran. You'd get a lot of the powder kind of coming off as it's tumbling around. So I don't know if it's 100% necessary, to be honest. But you could do it. Yes, you could. I don't see why not. In fact, why don't you give it a try and let us know how you get on? Because it seems to be a lot. I'm going through my brain that goes into the production of things and how things mechanically work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Or you can do it like I've done it straight onto a roasting rack. So coriander stalks going over there. As well as that, I'm just going to take a few of the leaves, not too many, just a little light slither of the leaves are going to go on there, just like that. Oh, it's looking so good. Put you over there. And the last thing I'm going to add onto this, because literally, you know, this is us. Once again, what do? We eat with our, that's right, we eat with our eyes, and food needs to look good. Because it even tastes better. They've done studies to prove that when food looks really edible, the same food, but one's a really beautifully looking plate and the other one's just kind of been slopped together. The people who were having the food, you know, taking a bit of time with presentation, said that the food was a lot tastier than the same meal that they had not long after that. That was just slopped onto a plate. So we do eat with our eyes. So it pays to take that little bit of time just to create something really spectacular. And whoever you're making this for, whether it be you, whether it be for your darling husband, wife, your mum, your dad, your kids, and the kids can handle this. This chili's not super hot. I would describe this as more of a mild chili. The kids do eat this as well. Our 15-year-old son, who's like, never will I ever have chili, smashes this. So it does happen. But whoever you're making this for, you know, you take that little bit of time. Oh, clean the plate too. Don't want to do the plate. Take that little bit of time just to make it look a little bit nicer. That not only will your belly thank you, but they will thank you too. You'll be an absolute superstar. So there you go. This is my vegetarian KFC, also known as Korean fried cauliflower. And yes, you can take that sauce and do it with chicken. So you can do Korean fried chicken as well. Use exactly the same sauce. Don't change a thing. But I take wings, you know how you get the wing, the chicken wing, and it comes in, it's got like 2 little indents in it, which is where the wing moves. So you cut the wing into 3. I like to use that middle bit or the end bit. So I think it's called the drumette, and the little wing part in the middle. I use those 2. Do exactly the same thing. So you do the egg or the water, and then you do the tapioca starch, and then you cook it in your air fryer. 25 minutes until it's cooked through, and then Korean sauce over that, and you have got like literally the most amazing Korean fried chicken as well, and it will come out crispy, crunchy. And then you add your herbs, add a bit of almonds, maybe even my almond nut sauce that's in the ebook that's coming out, Bridget's Healthy Veggies, which is due to be released either today or tomorrow. You can do that soon. May said soon. I jumped the gun. Not maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but definitely soon. You can do that as well. So lots of really exciting things. If you want to get your copy of more, you can still get your copy of more. We have our Newcastle Newcastle was last Saturday. Canberra is this Saturday, our cooking class book launch, and in February we still have tickets available to the Auckland cooking class. Now the Auckland cooking class is going to be hosted on February the 13th, so the day before Valentine's Day. It's a Thursday night, and we're doing that right in the middle of Auckland City, really close to Wynyard Quarter, who anyone is familiar with, in the Auckland Seafood School. So it's going to be an amazing cooking class, masterclass demonstration with me and Mahei, and then we're going to have a book signing, and then we're going to have some meet and greet, and then we're going to go to the pub down the road and have a few celebration drinks. So you've got to come and join us. If you're in Auckland or you're anywhere near Auckland, February the 13th at 6:30 it starts, and it's going to be a really, really awesome book launch. But yes, thank you to Canberra. I will see you in a couple of days. Yes, I'm afraid if you're looking for a Canberra ticket, it has sold out. Auckland has about half, no, it's more than that now. 3/4 of the tickets are already gone. So if you want to come to the Auckland class, I would definitely suggest you get in quickly. Mahei, I think, has just thrown up a link for that as well. So thank you for joining me today. I have to go and make some lunch. Gut healing bowls. This is going in my gut healing bowl today. Can't wait, can't wait. All right, guys. Love you and see you soon. Bye.